Hey everybody, what's going on? Hellmite here, bringing you another video from Grab the Lantern today. And yes, I know, this is not League of Legends, this is not my usual content, this is not my usual day as a matter of fact, so I'm sure the first thought is, Hellmite, what are you doing? But I got a confession for you guys. I have been absolutely in love with Legends of Runeterra ever since that game came out, just about last year, I want to say. Just really good card game in general, and really been scratching that itch for playing card games due to the pandemic, not being able to get out and actually play, so been having a lot of fun with this, and with the new set that just came out, Empires of the Ascended, I've decided, you know what, let's go ahead and start trying to make some content for Legends of Runeterra because I'm enjoying it so much, and I would love to share some of that with you guys. So this series is basically just going to be me brewing up a random deck and then playing it in usually normal games and just kind of talking about what the deck is supposed to do, what kind of cards I'm running, and generally speaking, those kind of strategies. So if you guys already play Legends of Runeterra, you'll probably get a lot of value out of this. If you haven't played Legends of Runeterra, first, I highly suggest you play it. It's totally free to play and has a really nice model for getting the cards and decks you want to play. But either way, I hope you guys do enjoy this, and I'm going to be going ahead and hopping into my deck breakdown here for what I'm going to be playing today, and then I will see you guys in game. Welcome back everybody, and here we are with the deck I'm going to be bringing to today's games. This is Demacian Elites. To anyone who knows me, this should not be a surprise as to that I built this deck. This is the first deck I built upon getting Legends of Runeterra, as I am a big hardcore Demacia stan, so definitely going to want to bring this out, and we just got a bunch of new tools for this deck in the Empires of the Ascended update, so definitely has breathed some new life into this deck, and I think made it quite good. So let's go ahead and do a card by card real quick, just so you guys know what I'm running in today's game. First, we have 3 copies of Penitent Squire. It was kind of a toss-up between this and Cithria of Cloudfield, as Cithria is an elite and therefore benefits a lot from what this deck wants to do, which is play lots of elites and then play cards that benefit those elites. But Penitent Squire, I think, is a big deal because she gives me the Tattered Banner in hand, which is a card that allows me to grant something Challenger, which is a really huge deal because Challenger is essentially what this deck wants to be doing. It wants to be going out there, challenging enemy units, and then getting additional value from it. With this card, as opposed to my previous iteration of the Elites deck, which is a lot more slow-paced about building a big board, slowly pumping it up with anthem effects, and then eventually swinging in, Penitent Squire instead kind of says you can play more aggressively and proactively with these challenger cards to pick off enemy units, so definitely prefer her in the deck over Cithria, even though she is not an elite. At my 2-cost mark here, we do have Battlesmith. Now, he is just great in Elite's deck. When I summon Elite, they just permanently get a +1/+1 bonus, which is a really big deal. Definitely want to be looking to see him on turn 2. I also have Honored Lord here at the 2 mana mark, though I will probably never play this card at 2 mana. Now, he's a 3/2 for 2, which is decent, but the biggest thing here is the first time he challenges an enemy, he gets Barrier this round. If I'm able to wait until turn 3, then I can drop the Penitent Squire turn 1, Battlesmith turn 2, Honored Lord on turn 3. He only costs me 2, which means I have 1 mana left over for the Tattered Banner to have him come down with Challenger. Then he immediately swings in, challenging somebody, gets Barrier. He's a 4/3 because of Battlesmith. Lots of fun things I can do there with this card. I'm running 2 copies here of Single Combat as well. Just the 2 copies because this is a bit of a brick if I don't have much in the way of a board state, but this is a really nice card here because it does give me a way to proactively go out and either deal with enemy units that are choosing not to attack, or in order to change a combat to be more in my favor. At the 3 mana mark, the only card I have is the Grand Plaza. As I mentioned, this is because I can do things like the Honored Lord Tattered Banner combo here, but the Grand Plaza is a super good card to drop at the 3 mana mark because it does give allies +1/+0 and Challenger the turn they come down, so if I don't open with Penitent Squire, I can still play the Grand Plaza on turn 3, and then anything I play from then on out is going to be coming down with Challenger and an additional point of power as gravy on top. So that's going to be a really nice card to have if I can come down with it. I've been debating cutting out a copy of it because it is a bit of a brick. I really never want to see more than 1 copy of this card in my hand, but on the off chance it gets removed, having more than 1 may be a good idea. At the 4 mana mark, I have 2 Gallant Rider here. Gallant Rider is a really solid card to curve into right after the Grand Plaza, because the first time he challenges an enemy, he transforms into Vanguard Cavalry, which is a 5/5 tough, which is really nice. So essentially, if I can play him when I already have Grand Plaza on the battlefield, or can spare the mana for a Tattered Banner to start with, then he's just coming down as a discounted Vanguard Cavalry. Like, I see almost no reason to actually run Vanguard Cavalry nowadays, when Gallant Rider is just so much better, as long as you can jump through the hoop. Also at the 4 mana cost, I have 2 Golden Aegis. This card is massive for this deck. Giving an ally barrier and then rallying is sort of a 2-for-1 punch. It's either a good way to help you close out a game by just rallying for 4 mana, which is nice, or you can use it as a bit of a rattlesnake for an opponent's attack by playing Golden Aegis on their turn, getting barrier on a key unit, rallying your board, and then your opponent's thinking, well, If I attack, he can attack me on the backswing and maybe do a bunch of damage. He's got a free blocker now because that unit has barrier. Maybe I don't want to attack, but if I don't attack, he can go for me. There's a lot of sort of fun mind games that you can do with Golden Aegis. Really been loving this card in particular. I'm running 3 copies of Vanguard Bannermen. Vanguard Bannermen there. Bit of a tongue twister there, but 4 mana, 3/3, who gives all other allies +1/+1 if my allegiance trigger is met. But since this deck is mono Demacia, he is always going to pump up the field, which is a really big deal. So if I can curve out really nicely with something like the Penitent Squire into Battlesmith into Honored Lord, and then drop Vanguard Bannermen right afterwards, he's pumping the whole field, which is really, really nice. I also have 3 copies of Vanguard Squire here. Now, Vanguard Squire is a bit of a weird card because, on one hand, I really never want to play this card for 4 mana because she's just not worth it in that regard. But as long as I'm playing enough elites beforehand, she can be coming down for 2 or 1 or even 0 mana at some point, which is just giving me free value and extending the board out a little bit more, so I do like that. The first champion I'm running in the deck today is Garen. 3 copies of him, of course. 5/5 regeneration for 5, which is really, really nice. He's also an elite, which means he synergizes with everything else that has elites in the name. He reduces the cost of Vanguard Squire. He can benefit from Battlesmith's pumps. And he also has a couple other benefits with other cards in the deck. And if I can get him to strike twice with something like single combat, he does flip and start rallying me at the beginning of every turn to help me close out games. Definitely a powerful beater there. Also, the 5 mana mark, I have 2 Greathorn Companion. This is a 5/5 scout for 5. The biggest reason I like this is because he synergizes well with Jarvan IV by giving him sort of extra attacks, and he's just a big beater. If you can come down to turn 5 with a Greathorn Companion, I know he's not an elite, but he does have the option of allowing me to get a couple extra attacks in and really put some pressure on my opponent. At the 6 mana mark here, I have Cithria the Bold, just 2 copies. Again, I'm not a huge fan of this card playing her on an empty board because her effect just doesn't do that much for you unless you have other allies, but if you are able to come down with her with a couple other units on the field, she's really good at 6/6, giving all other attacking allies +1/+1 and fearsome to really help close out games when she goes in with a wide board. My second champion here is Jarvan IV, who was a new card added in this set. Really excited that now Demacian Elites has a second champion to play. Before it was just the Garen, that was the only champion I got to play, so seeing a lot more champions in these games now. Jarvan IV is a 5/3 barrier for 6. When I attack, I can pay his cost to summon him challenging the strongest enemy, which is a really nice swing. It means that if my opponent has the attack token on turn 5, they can do whatever setup they want. I can go for an open attack on turn 6, immediately summon the Jarvan IV challenging the strongest enemy, and be able to get a lot of value here. He needs to see allies survive 4 or more strikes from enemy blockers, which is easier to do if you have Challenger because you can pick blocks that you know you're going to succeed in. And once he's able to flip, he is able to get the barrier every time he challenges an enemy and creates a fleeting Cataclysm in hand every time the round starts. So giving me a lot more value to help close out games. Flipping him is a bit difficult at some times, but generally speaking, if you can get it, you're going to be winning the game off the back of that. I'm also running 1 copy of King Jarvan III here in order to tutor up an additional Jarvan if I do decide I need him. And if I already have that Jarvan, then he's giving allies Challenger and Scout this round, which is just a blowout way to end the game by getting 2 attacks in, challenging with all of your allies. And if you have Jarvan IV already on the field, you're getting even more value off the back of that, which is really nice. At 8 mana, I'm running 1 copy of Captain Arrika. I used to be running more of this card. She's the only landmark removal in Demacia, but I feel like the problem is because she's so expensive, I really don't want to see her in a lot of hands unless I think the game is going to be going late. But she's definitely a good, solid piece of removal for a lot of cards. She's a way to get rid of things like Starspring or a lot of the other new landmarks that have been coming out. So definitely need to be running her or just snatching away a huge enemy unit if I absolutely need it removed. So while I like Arrika, I do feel like I need more room for lower cost cards in case I can end the game faster rather than trying to stall it out against something like a deep deck. I'm also running 2 copies of For the Fallen, which is an amazing card, as it helps get around one of the biggest disadvantages of the Elites deck, which is that you're vulnerable to board wipes. If I play on a big board and then my opponent hits me with a Ruination, well, I'm just out of luck, whereas For the Fallen allows me to then recover the board and get a bunch of units back in by comparison, and 2 copies of Reinforcements, which does a similar thing, but also can pump up all other elite allies +1/+1 as you play it. So playing this on its own is okay, because you get 2 4/4s for 8 mana, which is not bad, but if you have a board on top of that, you're pumping up the whole thing and also summoning 2 units, which is really good. And that's going to be the deck breakdown here, guys. I'm going to go ahead and hop into queue, and you will see me again once we get into game. Looking forward to it. Alrighty, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to be hopping into a game here with OGK, piloting this Lulu Shyvana deck, which is a bit of an interesting combo. I would almost say a non-bow, given that Lulu can't actually pump up Shyvana any more than she already is, but Looking at our opening hand here, we're going to mulligan away these 2 cards. Keep the Honored Lord in the Grand Plaza, hoping for something slightly lower cost, but we're not going to quite see it. So these first couple turns will probably just be banking mana and hoping the Lulu player doesn't curve out quite well, because that deck can do a lot of damage off the top. Opening with another Honored Lord here. Again, not quite ideal, not really what I want to see. And that's actually going to be the turn 1 Dragon Chow. So that's a really nice card that was actually added in this most recent update that really helps the dragon deck do quite well, as it lets you get your dragons to strike. It gives them more fury procs. It's really good. We're actually opening with our 3rd Honored Lord. Honestly, I'm just going to pass here. I'm not that worried about the Dragon Chow on its own, and we will just bank up that mana for later. Drawing out the Garen, so we can drop him down on the next turn. Here's Lulu, actually, who will be able to get some value off that Dragon Chow. I'm just going to drop the Grand Plaza. We're going to take 6 here, I believe. I see no reason for him to not do this. And, wow, you know, maybe that's why you're running the Lulu, because you know you can open with Dragon Chow and pump it up on turn 3. But we do have a way to deal with that on this turn, which is playing out all these Honored Lords. So because I have the Grand Plaza, they're all going to get +1/+0 in Challenger. And remember, when they challenge something, they'll get Barrier as well, which is a big deal. Playing the Green Glade Elder. That's a card you don't oftentimes see. Maybe going for a bit of a hand pump strategy. He is sitting on the 3 mana, but I do think I just want to try and get rid of these units while I can. See if he's got any responses to that. I am sitting on the single combat. Okay, he is going to go for the retreat, which I am going to pop the single combat just to get rid of it. Because that not only will cost him a card, but will also get rid of the Lulu as well. So that's a really nice play for me here, getting rid of that champion early on, and also getting rid of the Dragon Chow before he could play a dragon. So we'll see what his play here is going to be on turn 5. We do have the Jarvan, so that's a big deal for my next turn, as I can just go for the open attack with Jarvan challenging the biggest thing. Playing out the Screeching Dragon. So actually Garen has to sit in my hand here, because if the Screeching Dragon swings, it can grab the Garen and just kill him immediately. So he will choose to grab the Honored Lord. I'm just going to go ahead and trade out here because he's out of mana here. Now I can drop the Garen. He gets the bonus here, which isn't a big deal. He can't actually do anything with it. But now I get to pull the Jarvan combo. So swinging in with the Garen. And here comes the Flag and Drag combo on the Jarvan, dragging in the Dragon here. And see what he's got. There could be a retreat coming out. I know he's main decking that. Or something like a Whimsy. He's actually going to go for the Concerted Strike. So he's just going to try and remove the Garen, which is fine, honestly, because at the very least, I do kill off the dragon, and he's not going to be developing anymore on this turn. Turn 7 now. Okay, Dragon Chow. So that means he's got a dragon in hand. There's no reason. There's no way he doesn't. Tempted to play the Cithria here. Yeah, because we want to save the Honored Lord for the next turn, where I can actually give him Challenger and then get the benefit from his shield. There's the Shyvana. She'll strike that immediately, draw you a card, and also make progress on her quest. I do have Cithria to block here, assuming he doesn't have a combat trick. Yeah, so he will just pass the turn to me, which is totally fine on my end. So we'll go ahead and play out the Honored Lord, and we can go for an aggressive push here, try and close out the game. Because I do have this Golden Aegis in hand. He's got to play the Dragon Guard Lookout. Okay. So trying to go a little bit more aggressive here. So I actually think what I want to do is play out the Vanguard Squire for another Challenger. If he wants to go to combat, that's actually fine by me, because I know I can trade out with the Shyvana. Or actually, honestly, I could just take the damage. It would put me down to 6, but my crackback will be very, very strong. So see what he ends up wanting to go for here. It feels a bit premature to play the Dragon Guard Lookout. But this might be, yes, this is going to be a second Concerted Strike, so he will be able to just clean up the Cithria, which is a bit disappointing, but now we can go for this kind of a play, get the Jarvan damage in, and I do have For the Fallen, so if he has another combat trick, I can start bringing back all of my other units. And actually, he's out of mana, so I'm going to put the, oh, he will actually swing here. So I am just going to go for the Golden Aegis. Because I know he's out of mana, there's nothing else he can do about this. And this actually is my Jarvan flip, because he has nothing he can do about this. So we grab the Dragon Guard Lookout, we kill it, Jarvan flips. Super clean level up animation here, but we do have Jarvan flipped on the battlefield now, getting in for another 6 damage. And this is back to my turn as well, so unless he top decks something, he's actually done for. He's going to come down to the Cadragon for all of his mana, but we're sitting on the Captain Arrika, and this should be the game. Obviously, I can't attack this turn. I don't have the attack token, but it doesn't even matter. I can just pass the turn and then go straight to combat on my turn because, well, he's got nothing. And that's going to be it. So, kind of showcasing the strengths of the Demacian Elites deck. We did, unfortunately, lose the Garen, but shows how powerful the Jarvan IV can be. And like I said, if you can flip that character, he can be really good. And just kind of seeing all of the new tools that the Elites deck got in this new set, all of the Challenger and the ability to play proactively and remove things, plus Golden Aegis to rally. Just super, super nice card and really, really solid game. Honestly, deck performed a lot better than I expected it here. So anyways, that's going to be it for me today, guys. Thank you all so very much for watching. If you want to see more Legends of Runeterra content, go ahead and let me know down in the comment section below. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. And if you have any deck ideas as well, go ahead and toss them down in the comments as well. I'll see about maybe brewing up some more jank and showing it to you guys. But that's going to be it for me today, guys. Thank you all so very much for watching. I do appreciate it. And I'll talk to you all later.